Assalamu alaikum. Last time we had talked about the cerebrum, its salient features, and the superolateral surface of the cerebrum. Today we will be talking about the medial surface of the cerebrum. If you see in this pic, this is the medial surface of the cerebrum. Medial surface mostly comprises of sulci and gyri, as you can see in the picture. The medial surface mostly comprises of sulci and gyri. Moreover, there is an arched structure on the medial surface which is called as the corpus callosum. Now, what is this corpus callosum? This corpus callosum, they are the commissural fibers. They are the commissural fibers. They are the white fibers. Commissural fibers are those white fibers that connect to similar things like the corpus callosum here connects the one cerebral hemisphere with the other cerebral hemisphere. Then the parts of the corpus callosum, as you can see, this is C-shaped. This corpus callosum is C-shaped and it is a white matter. It is a white matter. They are the commissural fibers. It has a rostrum. Can you see that narrowed beak-shaped thing? Beak-shaped white thing. This is the rostrum. Then this is the this is the rostrum. This is the genu. This is the genu. This is the trunk, and this is the splenium. This is the rostrum. This beaked portion, this beaked white part is the rostrum. This is the genu. This is the trunk, and this is the splenium. Then this rostrum is here attached to this bead-like thing. This is called as the anterior commissure. This small bead-like thing, this is the anterior commissure. They are again the white fibers. From the anterior commissure, there is a connection to the optic chiasma. This is your optic chiasma. From the anterior commissure, there is a connection to the optic chiasma. This connection, this thin thread-like white matter, it is called as the lamina terminalis. The connection between the anterior commissure and the optic chiasma is this thread-like material, which is a thin lamina of nervous tissue. This is called as the lamina terminalis. In front of this lamina terminalis, you have paraterminal and paraolfactory gyrus. You have the paraterminal and paraolfactory gyrus. These are the gyri, paraterminal and paraolfactory gyri, which are present in front of this thin white strip, that is the lamina terminalis. After that, here you can see this is the pituitary gland. This is the pituitary gland. So after discussing about the corpus callosum, see the structures beneath it. The structures beneath it. You have this another white band, white matter band. This is the fornix. This is the fornix. And in between this fornix and the corpus callosum, here there is a curtain-like material. There is a curtain-like material which is called as the septum pellucidum or septum lucidum. Between the fornix and the corpus callosum, there is a curtain-like material which is called as septum pellucidum or septum lucidum. This is your thalamus. This is your thalamus. And this point, this is the connexus thalami. It acts as a connection between the two thalami, this point. Fine. Talking about the various sulci and gyri. These are the various sulci and various gyri. We will be talking about them in detail. Since this is corpus callosum, the sulcus above it will be the callosal sulcus. This is the corpus callosum, and the sulcus above it will be the callosal sulcus. This is the cingulate gyrus. This is the cingulate gyrus. I am just marking the area for you. This is the cingulate gyrus, and the sulcus above it will be the cingulate sulcus. This is cingulate gyrus and this is the cingulate sulcus. It gives two limbs, one and two limbs that surround the paracentral lobule. It gives two limbs that surround the paracentral lobule. This is your cingulate sulcus giving one limb and giving other limb, and they surround the paracentral lobule. Then talking about the other things, This is your cingulate gyrus, this hole. Then this is your medial frontal gyrus. I will, demarcate the area for you. This is the medial frontal gyrus. This hole is your medial frontal gyrus. And this is your paracentral lobule. This is your paracentral lobule. Here you can see you have the part of the central sulcus also. Since you know your central sulcus is present on the superolateral surface, but it crosses the superomedial border and enters your medial surface, and it is being covered by means of the paracentral lobule. Then comes another thing, that is the precuneus. This area which I am demarcating here, this is your precuneus. This area is your precuneus, and this area is this triangular area here is your cuneus. This triangular here is your area here is your cuneus. This cuneus is being bounded superiorly by parieto-occipital fissure and inferiorly by calcarine fissure or calcarine sulcus. Parieto-occipital fissure and calcarine sulcus, they lodge an area called as the cuneus. And this is your lingual gyrus. This is your lingual gyrus. This was about the medial surface. One more sulci you have here, that is the suprasplenial sulcus. Suprasplenial sulcus or suprasplenial sulcus. It is present here. After this, see the view of the corpus callosum with the structures beneath. It is quite clear here because the picture is very much colored, as you can see. Let's start. This is the rostrum. This is the rostrum, beak shaped anterior end of the corpus callosum. Then this is the genu, which is broadened up. This is the trunk, and this is the splenium. Fine. These are the parts of the corpus callosum. After that, this is the anterior commissure, this yellow colored bead. This white colored line types, it is the lamina terminalis, which connects this anterior commissure with the optic chiasma. This is your pituitary gland, and posteriorly you have your pineal gland. You have your pineal gland. This orange colored is your other white band, that is called as the fornix, and this is your septum pellucidum or septum lucidum, which is a curtain-like membrane present between your corpus callosum and your fornix. This is the we have talked about the medial surface. Then there is the inferior surface of the cerebrum. As you can see in the pic, this is the inferior surface of the cerebrum. This is the inferior surface of the cerebrum. On the inferior surface, the area is being divided into anteriorly into the orbital part and posteriorly into the tentorial part. It is divided into orbital part and the tentorial part. If we talk about the orbital part, can you see in the picture, you have a thing called as the olfactory tract. You have a thing called as the olfactory tract. This olfactory tract is present in the olfactory sulcus. This olfactory tract, it is present in the olfactory sulcus. It is present in the olfactory sulcus. So you have a sulcus here beneath this tract, that is called as the olfactory sulcus. Medial to this olfactory sulcus, you have this area. This is called as the gyrus rectus. This is called as the gyrus rectus. Why gyrus rectus? Since it is straight. Rectus word itself implies that the thing should be straight. So this is the gyrus rectus and this is the olfactory sulcus. Just lateral to this, you have this area where you have H-shaped sulcus. This H-shaped sulcus divides the area into anterior orbital gyrus, posterior orbital gyrus, medial orbital gyrus and lateral orbital gyrus. You have the olfactory sulcus. Medial to that, you have the gyrus rectus, which is a straight gyrus. Then lateral to the olfactory sulcus, you have H-shaped sulcus, anterior which divides this part into 4 gyri: anterior orbital gyri, lateral orbital gyri, medial orbital gyrus and posterior orbital gyrus. Then this tentorial area, that we will be talking in the next slide. See this tentorial area. You have 2 parallel running sulci. You have two parallel running sulci. You have the collateral sulcus and you have the occipitotemporal sulcus. You have the collateral sulcus and you have this occipitotemporal sulcus. This collateral sulcus, which we have talked about it. This collateral sulcus is the complete sulcus and it raises an eminence in the lateral ventricle, which I'll be showing to you in the next slides. This is the collateral sulcus and this is the occipitotemporal sulcus. These are two parallel running sulci present on the tentorial surface. These collateral sulcus and the occipitotemporal sulcus. These are two parallel running sulcus present on the tentorial surface. They go from anterior to the posterior. Now the area medial to this collateral sulcus is called as the parahippocampal gyrus. This hole is your parahippocampal gyrus. This hole is your parahippocampal gyrus. Anteriorly, this gyrus is being separated from the temporal lobe by means of this sulcus. This is called as the rhinal sulcus. This curved sulcus is known as the rhinal sulcus. I will again demarcate the things. This is the parahippocampal gyrus. This gyrus is the parahippocampal gyrus. This is the rhinal sulcus. It separates this gyrus from the temporal lobe. Then this area here, it is called as the uncus. This area here is called as the uncus. This is the parahippocampal gyrus. This is the uncus. This is the rhinal sulcus, which separates it from the temporal lobe. Then you're talking about the occipitotemporal sulcus. It has two gyri on either side. It has two gyri on either side. This is the medial occipitotemporal gyrus and this is the lateral occipitotemporal gyrus. I think I will repeat this thing for you. Talking about this, what we call the orbital surface. In the orbital surface, you have olfactory sulcus and medial to that you have gyrus rectus. Then you have the H-shaped sulcus dividing the part into anterior orbital sulcus, posterior orbital sulcus, medial orbital sulcus and lateral orbital sulcus. Then the tentorial surface has two parallel running sulci which move from anterior to the posterior. Medial one is the collateral sulcus, which is the complete sulcus, raising an eminence in the lateral ventricle. Then medial to this collateral sulcus, this whole area is your, ये क्या है बेटा? This whole area is your parahippocampal gyrus, which anteriorly gives the formation to the rhinal sulcus that separates it from the temporal lobe. And this area here is called as the uncus. Then this parahippocampal gyrus is being separated from rest of the gyri by means of this thing that is called as the isthmus. Here you have a thing called as the isthmus that separates this gyrus from the cingulate gyrus. After that comes your occipitotemporal sulcus. Medial to the occipitotemporal sulcus you have medial occipitotemporal gyrus and lateral to it you have lateral occipitotemporal gyrus. Next slide. See, you can here see this is the collateral eminence. We have traced the path for you. I have just explored the lateral ventricle here and you can see in this lateral ventricle you have this collateral eminence. This eminence is being raised by the collateral sulcus. Then your cerebrum has certain functional areas. Your cerebrum has certain functional areas which have been mapped out by different scientists in different ways. But we will here usually all of us go with the Brodmann's type of mapping because he has given these areas the numbers. He has numberized the areas. We can see in the pic. This is the central sulcus. All of you know. This is the central sulcus and this is the precentral sulcus. The area, this red area between the two is called as the precentral gyrus. Since it is in front of the central sulcus, so it is called as the precentral gyrus or motor area or Brodmann's area 4. Brodmann's area 4. This area is the Brodmann's area 4. Precentral gyrus, motor area or Brodmann's area 4. This area is concerned with the voluntary movements of the various body parts. If this area is being stimulated electrically, there will be the movements of the various body parts. The fibers, projection fibers from here in the form of corticospinal and corticonuclear move downwards and take up the signals to the concerned area. In front of this motor area, we have premotor area. This premotor area is includes the part from the superior frontal gyrus, middle frontal gyrus, and the inferior frontal gyrus. This premotor area, which is Brodmann's 6 and 8, this includes the all the three frontal gyri. This premotor area is concerned with the intricacy of the various movements. Although it is concerned with the movement of the various body parts, but it maintains the intricacy. And it plans the new movements. And it helps in the coordination of the movements, this premotor area. Then you have another motor area, that is the supplementary motor area. That supplementary motor area that aids the main motor area in its functioning. After that comes your frontal eye field. This middle frontal gyrus it has a connection with the eye movements. This middle frontal gyrus has a connection with eye movements. It helps to move the eyes in opposite directions. This area of the middle frontal gyrus, it is called as the frontal eye field. Then you have the prefrontal area. That prefrontal area we will see in the next pic. That prefrontal area, see here, that prefrontal area, this prefrontal area, can you see in the picture? It includes the part of your medial frontal gyrus, which is present on the medial surface. It includes the part of the medial frontal gyrus, which is present on the medial surface, and it includes the part of your orbital sulci and gyri, and also the part of the superolateral surface. This is concerned with the expression of the emotions and various other habits of the human. Moving back to the same pic. So I will be summarizing the various functional areas. First of all, this is the motor area. It is present just anterior to the central sulcus. This is the central sulcus. It is present anterior to the central sulcus. It is present on the superolateral surface with an extension on the paracentral lobule, which is present medially, on the anterior part of the paracentral lobule, which is present medially. I will be showing that. This is the anterior part of the paracentral lobule. Here also you have this primary motor area. Then it is meant for the voluntary, it is meant for the movement of the various body parts. This motor area gives projection fibers in the form of corticospinal and corticonuclear, and hence gives its outputs. In front of it comes the premotor area, that is the area 6 and area 8. This is area 4. This area 6 and 8, they are concerned with the this area is concerned with the intricacy of the movements. This area is concern with the intricacy of the movements. Then this the middle frontal gyrus. It is the frontal eye field. It helps in the movement of the eyes in two different directions. Then what else? We had prefrontal area. prefrontal area. For that, we have to include the medial frontus gyrus and orbital gyri and some part of the superolateral surface. Now, what is this? This is called as the inverted homunculus. This is called as the inverted homunculus. Since all the body parts have their representation in the cerebrum, so in cerebrum you have the areas for different body parts, but they are inverted. Everything is inverted, upside down. So this is called as the inverted homunculus. As you can see, the mouth and the hand, they are large here. Why? Because their motor activities are more. That is why these areas occupy the large area on the cerebrum. I think rest we will be doing in the next class. Thank you.